Hello and welcome to week 12 of the NFL season at this point. Can't believe we are almost there. Near the end. We are what is it again? About 3 weeks before the first playoff run in
Yeah.
most leagues. So now is really the time to buckle down, make that playoff push, and we'll go ahead and see. So first place that we always start, and like we always do, is going to be those bye weeks. Megan, why don't you tell us who's on the bye?
We're back to having multiple teams on bye, which is nice to see. Denver Broncos, they've been on a tear here lately, but they need that rest. Los Angeles Chargers, also in that same division. Miami Dolphins, same thing. And Washington Commanders. So it seems like it's a good time for bye weeks for these teams. Speaking of needing time to relax and recover, you're gonna need glasses to see all of these injuries we have this week. I'm not gonna go through the entire list. I'm sure if you have any of a beat on the NFL, you're getting lots and lots of um, injury reports and people being out and everything else. Most notably for me right here is CJ Stroud and Aaron Rodgers. Like those are going to be your big hitters at quarterback. You Dylan Gabriel and Michael Penix, also quarterbacks, but not as worrisome as those top 2. But yeah, expecting a lot of injuries this week and a lot of players you don't see a lot of getting targets. So it's gonna be an interesting week this week. You think so, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go ahead and make sure that you guys can see who's replacing them in the matchup section. I'm right back.
If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's get right into it with Buffalo at Houston. The biggest news this week is going to be CJ Stroud's absence. It's going to be really, really felt there in Houston. Davis Mills, not super new to the team as far as being on the field. This year so far, he has played in at least 3 games. I think he started for 2. But his passing percentage is only 60%. So I really expect that Houston's going to take advantage of their run game a lot more, knowing that they did. Woody Marks had a great week last week. So I would expect Houston to really try to use him as much as possible. Not to mention, if you know anything about the Bills, you know that their run defense is terrible. So I would expect them to try to take advantage of that, as every other team this year has. On the Bills side, really feeling those injuries. Dalton Kincaid is still out. Curtis Samuel is out this week. McCall Hardman had a great week last week, just with his um, kickoff returns, etc. But he's also out. I haven't heard anything on Keon Coleman this week yet, Chris.
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect him to play or to really be used very much, but we have Tyrell Shavers, we have Gabe Davis potentially, Josh Palmer, all great players for the Bills that I expect to see that ball. So we'll see.
yeah, I would expect Keon to dress. I do not expect him to.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
A tough lesson, but yeah, you hit it right on the head with Houston in that running game. Maybe the Bills will get James Cook started too, because Houston's run defense is not very good, but their pass defense, they're gonna hopefully stop Josh Allen from having another 6 touchdown day. Go to
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Okay.
With the New York Jets and the Baltimore Ravens, we have Tyrod Taylor getting the start. They have officially benched Justin Fields because Tyrod's healthy. Adonai Mitchell, he is being fed the ball constantly while Garrett Wilson is out. Unfortunately, he's just not catching the ball when he's being fed the ball. So that's going to be your issue. Mason Taylor, every single week, he's growing. It's good to see. Lamar Jackson, there was a minor ankle injury. He was limited on Wednesday, so got to be wary of that because it's Lamar Jackson and he runs, so watch out for his ankles. But everything else, it's kind of what we've been saying all year. The New York defense has been the bread and butter in most years, but this year they are just struggling. So expect Baltimore, if they want to keep in that playoff push, they're going to try to score fast. They're going to try to score early. And by doing that, they're going to be throwing the ball. maybe, just maybe, they'll get DeAndre Hopkins in there, but definitely Mark Andrews will be taking part in this offensive. You have anything else on this, Megan, or do you want to move to Chicago?
Let's go on Chicago. Chicago, who's amazing this year. Like the NFC North is usually a pretty tough division for all of those teams, but for whatever reason, the Bears have decided that this is their year. Um, they do have some injuries at cornerback, which means that the Steelers tight ends are probably going to have a good game. So expect Pat Freiermuth, Janu Smith, um, what is his name? Darnell Washington, who had an epic game last week, to have a great game this week as well. Um, it's highly dependent though because of Aaron Rodgers, and we know that Aaron Rodgers had this weird wrist thing that they kept us all in the dark on all week, and they finally said, "Yes, it's fractured. Yes, we got a second opinion. It's not as bad as we thought it was." And he really wants to play. So we're saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to be out. We expect Aaron Rodgers to be out, but you never know.
He loves playing in
Mason,
Chicago.
I know, and I don't know why. Mason Rudolph is obviously not Aaron Rodgers, but he tends to do all right when he starts instead of Aaron. But everybody else on that team is really just going to depend on how long whoever the quarterback is able to hang on to that ball and his abilities to play. Chicago, Caleb Williams, really great at evading sacks. I'm not expecting Pittsburgh D to do very well at all. But Caleb Williams also is good at giving the ball away to DeAndre Smith. So um, I'm expecting Chicago to do better than Pittsburgh this week. I'm expecting to see a lot of DeAndre Smith and maybe some pretty cool plays from Caleb Williams as well.
I think you're absolutely spot on with Ben Johnson's offense. I think we're going to see some trickery in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing Chicago wants to do is beat Aaron Rodgers. Never been really monkey off their back. That even though he's on a different. All right, Cincinnati.
Patriots at Bengals.
Yeah, some cool stuff to talk about here. Um, First and foremost, don't spit on people. Why? Why would you spit on somebody? We've seen it already a few times this year. Ever since Bill Romanowski back in the 90s did it, you're going to get thrown out. You're going to get fined. You're going to get suspended. And
And it doesn't matter what the other guy
yeah,
did.
yeah. I mean, Ramsey was tossed out of that game last week when they were facing against Pittsburgh. This is just my soapbox. Let me go. And he's like, the guy spit at me. And then Jamar Chase's excuse was, if I spit at him, it would have been on his jersey. That doesn't make it better. Don't do it. Period. Anyway, all right. Soapbox over. Jamar Chase suspended for 1 game. He's out. He appealed. They denied it. They said, forget that. It's on video. You're wrong. So, New England's like, thank God we don't have to deal with Jamar Chase. Big highlight for New England. What might not be a highlight, as of Wednesday, Joe Burrow has practiced in full. They opened his 21-day window. Joe Flacco practiced limited. So that very well could mean Joe Burrow, there is a chance that he could play this game in Cincinnati in front of those fans. That would give Cincinnati the boost that they would need. They are technically still in the playoff running somehow, some way, but to do it against New England, that would be huge. So expect if Joe Burrow can actually play, expect Cincinnati to get a massive bump. As for New England, Drake May has been playing lights out. He's been doing exactly what he's been wanting to do when he needs to do it. That Josh McDaniels' offense is working exactly the way that they wanted to. Travion Henderson, he's holding onto the ball and he's seeing the holes. So he's finally settled in as a rookie for the New England Patriots. Stephon Diggs looks vintage, like we say every single week, and Demario Douglas takes the top off. Hunter Henry, he's good for 7 or 8 points every single week. I don't care what league you're in. 7 or 8 points is where Hunter Henry's giving you. And Andy Borregales, he's just been money. So really, either kicker in this game is probably someone you can start, but be sure to check to see if Cincinnati has Joe Burrow starting. Because if he's starting, then you know Noah Fant's getting the ball, you know T. Higgins is getting the ball, and just expect a lot more fireworks than we were expecting initially before this week's injury. After that, Megan, you got a fun one in Detroit. Well, fun for at least
Yep.
one team.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say for that reason. Detroit's running back duo, Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery are creating the third best defense in the league. Even though Jared Goff had a bad game last week, it still shows well for the team, right? Like you can expect the team to do well even if Jared Goff doesn't show up for the game. Um, on the Giants side, they've just had a bad year all around. They uh Cam Scadabo's big injury. Jackson Dart has had 4 concussion protocol in-game
Thing.
things, and this last one pulled him. We're expecting that Jackson Dart is going to be back. He's expected to completely get over the concussion protocol and he will be playing, which is nice for the Giants. But it doesn't mean that he really has anybody to go to. Tyrone Tracy Jr. is a great running back and has moments. Theo Johnson, same thing, but it's just there's nothing else there. No connection that Jackson Dart has made with any of these team members, and they're playing Detroit. So it's Detroit's game. I just stick with Detroit on this side.
I completely agree. I have nothing else to say there. Who do
Sounds
we
great.
got next?
Vikings at Packers. Enjoy.
All right. So the Vikings at the Packers should be a fun one. I'll get to the stadium first. There we go. All right. Now, JJ, this is going to be a rivalry, guys. The biggest thing about this game is if Justin Jefferson is going to get more upset and just get frustrated with the team as a whole to the point where, will he start being a diva and start asking for the ball himself? He just wants to help the team, is what he says. And Jordan Addison saying, it's on me. And Aaron Jones is not saying anything. And Hawkinson's not saying anything. The one person we're not hearing anything from, really, is JJ McCarthy. He says, we got to study, got to do the job, got to see what we can do. And that's kind of what you want from a young quarterback, but you want him to take a little bit of ownership. So if they are
Well, he's
going to
been
win,
injured a
yeah,
lot of this year too, so I can imagine him being a little bit quiet
yeah,
and trying to be friends with everybody. But
yes. But JJ McCarthy's also been injured, was out for the year last year,
yep,
and he's been injured the most this year. We're looking at someone might be made of glass. So if he wants to get people to like him, let's start playing and stay on the field. Let's start with that. But another person who we want to see more on the field is Jordan Love. Yes, he got injured last week. Yes, he might have had scared. There is all the MRIs are negative, but Malik Willis came in and played okay. He played what you expected him to do. The biggest thing in Green Bay is that they had that Josh Jacobs injury. Saw
yeah.
earlier. And they don't know. It's not a torn PCL, but it's just a knee contusion. So they are saying he's week to week. Hopefully, it is not that long for your fantasy value because, like you and like me, he is on 2 of my 3 teams. So I need him to play. Um, but Emmanuel Wilson will take his place in that instead. Matthew Golden, rookie, doing rookie things, but being good rookie. Romeo Dobbs is still his number one receiver there. And Luke Musgrave, he is not Tyler Kraft, but he's at least being, you know,
He's doing okay.
yeah, he's doing all right. So other than this is another playoff type game, this is a division game. This is where not just for fantasy, but people are starting to vie for position, and this is a big one there. So expect a really hard outing from both teams. All right, Megan. Enjoy the Kansas City game.
Yeah, I have like all of
You
the
do. You
the
get
bigger
all the
games.
highlights. Enjoy.
Thank you. Colts at Chiefs, right? So we know that the Indianapolis Colts are the team to beat this year. They surprisingly have just run away with the league. Um, and this week they're playing against the Chiefs, who have run away with the league in previous years. This year, Chiefs are incredibly inconsistent. They do really well in some games, and they really are not there at all for other games. If you looked at last week's game, we saw a Kansas City Chiefs team that is not a team at all. Just Andy Reid yelling at them from the sidelines. Mahomes just being emotional. And it's just not who they are. Um, the Colts are coming off of a bye from last week. That means that they're rested and they're going to continue to do well. Jonathan Thomas, same
Taylor.
thing. I did, in fact, say it's the first time I've done it. Okay,
I'm
first time.
you call me out, I call you out. We are a partnership here, and that's how we do it. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yes. So, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. It's Jonathan Taylor Thomas, not just Jonathan Taylor. So, hilarious that I finally did it on podcast because we're in week 12. Anyway, Jonathan Taylor should have a great year or a great week this week because Kansas City's run game is not so great. Um and on the Kansas City side, maybe Kelsey, although I feel like Mahomes is really spreading that ball around, and it's really hard to say if he's going to go to anybody in particular week to week. Xavier Worthy is potentially out. He had an ankle sprain, I think.
Okay.
Um, he's week not week to week necessarily. Day to day is probably more likely. Um, but I think they're talking about as I can't say his name today. Pacheco being back this week, which would be really, really nice for the Chiefs. But at the same time, before he went out, he wasn't doing anything either. So we'll see.
Oh,
I'm expecting Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor. Great game.
all right. Now my absolute banger of a game: Seattle at Tennessee. Start Seattle. If you have a Seattle player, start Seattle. That's all I got. There's no one on the Tennessee Titans that I would play in this game. Seattle is going to destroy them. The only reason why Tennessee would have a chance is if Seattle is overlooking them, and even then, pick Seattle. Arizona.
Maybe Joey Sly.
Oh, I don't even think that. That would be. Go, Megan. You have Arizona.
I do. And Jacksonville is playing them. Arizona, same thing. They're riddled with injuries. Marvin Harrison Jr., Amari DiMarcardo, like we said earlier, in injuries are their top producers, and they're both out. The only person on the Cardinals that I would choose, and I have chosen on my own fantasy team, is Trey McBride. He has just become their go-to, and he's consistent and loves playing. So Trey McBride, Arizona Cardinals. That's all you have on that side. As far as Jacksonville is concerned, they have a top 10 rushing attack. Travis Etienne Jr. is amazing and is really doing well. Brian Thomas Jr. is expected to be back this week as well on the wide receiver side. Um, I can't talk. Trevor Lawrence is has his moments. He can be consistent when he wants to be, when he has a good team that wants to play. And he likes to run the ball too. So I kind of see everybody on Jacksonville doing well this week against Arizona, and Trey McBride, only person on that team that's going to do okay.
Not really anybody else you got to worry about. Whew.
Browns or Raiders?
Well, it was just announced that Dylan Gabriel is going to be out with a concussion, so they are giving Shedeur Sanders the start. Q Junkins, this is gonna be your moneymaker. Really, the Vegas defense is a prime spot for Shedeur, but they want. If I was the Browns, don't give him a lot. Give him a couple easy completions. Make sure he doesn't hold on to the ball so that Max Crosby does not. That's about it. Use your tight ends. That's kind of where Cleveland's money is going to be on this. Their defense is not going to allow the Raiders to do anything. Period. The Raiders can't move the ball. The only thing they can do is Brock Bowers or Ashton Genty. And right now, The coaching staff is saying, I don't care if Ashton Dempsey can run the ball. We want to pass the ball first and move the ball farther than a couple yards at a time. That just screams Ashton Dempsey being tossed to the back of the train. It's one of those things where it's something you expect from Pete Carroll because that's what we saw when he was in Seattle. But he had Marshawn Lynch, and he even gave in to Marshawn Lynch. Ashton Dempsey is as good, if not better, than Marshawn Lynch. So I'm shocked. Yeah, I am shocked that they are not relying on Ashton. But I don't think they're going to be able to do anything against the Cleveland defense one way or another. So that's kind of where I'm here. Geno Smith, no. Shador Sanders, if you have to, take a flyer, but I don't expect him to do game. All right, Megan, another outstanding one for you.
Games are just getting good, right? Like the NFL did a great job this week of putting the top teams against each other. So good on them. I just happened to have picked the first every other games this week. So congratulations to me.
Flip of a coin.
Philadelphia, they're playing Dallas, and Dallas is on the bad side of inconsistent. Dak Prescott had a really good year to start and then fell off the face of the earth. We see George Pickens getting the ball sometimes. We're seeing Jake Ferguson getting the ball sometimes, but it really just, you can't rely on it for fantasy, right? They might be able to do well in this game if they have a good game, but from a picking fantasy player's perspective, I'm not sure that I would pick anybody on that side. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, they have a stellar team here, and you can rely on all of these players to continue to do well. So definitely the Philadelphia players this week. Dallas, I don't know. Anything to add, Chris?
I like Ferguson. I like the tight end matchup.
Yeah.
Here. That's essentially what I like. Also, like we were talking about before we started recording, that this is another one of those playoff things. If Dallas wants to have any chance at having a shot at the division, they have to win. They have to win the game.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of where we're at. All right, which one do we have? Oh, at least it's a divisional matchup. Atlanta versus the Saints. We got news here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We do have news
You
here.
have all the news.
I have all the news, and I guess that's a good thing. The quarterback is not going to be Spencer Rattler. It'll still be Shook. You can tell that we haven't had New Orleans at home for a very long time because last time they were at home, Spencer Rattler was the quarterback. So Tyler Shook, he's not going to be really a something you need to worry about in the fantasy world, but Kirk Cousins is the name here. Michael Penix Jr. is on IR. Drake London has been injured with his injury, hamstring, I believe. And so expect the Falcons to run the ball. Don't expect them to pass. Expect them to run the ball. New Orleans, they don't have anyone on their team anymore. And that is kind of the issue with them. Alvin Kamara would be it. Chris Olave would be it from a passing standpoint, but that's about it. I mean, Rashid Shaheed's on here. He's not on the team anymore. Spencer Rattler's benched. So this is just an outdated roster, but again, it doesn't make it like a difference because New Orleans is just not going to do the. They might be able to run the ball. Everybody's been able to run against Atlanta. So maybe you'll get Alvin Kamara, but he's not your typical running back. So I would kind of just stick away from this. But if you're
in a stick away from anything on the right hand side.
I would, if you are in a pinch, Kirk Cousins, because if you have Bo Nix, then going to need a quarterback. If you have Tua, you're going to need a quarterback. I mean, there are teams that are out there. I mean, Justin Herbert is on bye as well. So there are massive quarterbacks that are out there that you need one. Kirk Cousins is probably one of the better options to have. I'd rather do Kirk Cousins than Shador. That's just me. But all right. Los Angeles, here we come.
This is the Sunday night football game, yeah?
It is, yeah.
Which should be an okay game. I mean, the Chargers have, um, sorry, the Rams,
He's the meal all the time
are,
too.
I know, like I keep thinking it should be, I don't know, charging forward, even though it's like a Rams horn. I don't know. I don't know. Um, Matt Stafford, ladies and gentlemen, is probably the quarterback to watch in this game. I do like Baker Mayfield. I think he had a great game last week and he's well spoken and seems to have come alive in the last year. But I think Matt Stafford with his team, Kyron Williams, Nakua, Devontae Adams, they're just all really, really great uh players and they work together as a team, right? Like they are able to play together and they know what Matt Stafford's talking about and Matt Stafford can rely on them. So Los Angeles has um a great, like fantasy presence here for us. On the Tampa Bay side, we saw Sterling Shepard last week have a phenomenal game, but I feel like that's the first time unless we maybe week 1 that I remember seeing Sterling Shepard with so many targets. So it's nice to see that they're using him. They use Kate Dodson a lot. But again, it's that spreading the ball out, using all of their potential, which is great for teams, but it isn't in games. It's not great for fantasy. So on the left, I would really stick with Baker Mayfield. Um, I don't know that I would even rely on Sterling Shepard because we haven't seen him consistently this week. Amika Egbuka. Um, it's funny because he's not somebody that you would expect to be reliable necessarily. Like this is his first year, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
rookie
Yep.
season. But it seems like him and Baker have a really good opportunity. Seemed to it was funny. I was listening to something and I could have sworn that Baker said, "Oh, he was on the Manning cast." Um, I could have sworn that Baker said that they went to college together, and I was like, "There's no way they went to college together." But it's just like the connection that they seem to have. So, um, I think I say this all the time where, if you have Baker and he has somebody that he really, really likes, then he's going to go to him. And I think Amika's that person for right now.
One thing that did come across, we are not sure if Chris Godwin's going to play. He is questionable. It's essentially that day to day. So we go week to week, day to day. So just if Godwin does play, expect him to step in where Sterling Shepard was, but I still think Sterling Shepard's going to get him.
Yeah, especially after last week.
Yeah. All right, let's hit that Monday Night Football game, and it's a doozy. We have Carolina Panthers versus San Francisco 49ers. This is the game where Brock Purdy, I thought was going to be starting at this game. He decided to come back last week. So that was great for him. I actually don't know if Bryce Young's going to play this game. He is questionable as well. They are currently seeing how he practices, but he's been limited the last 2 days, so that is a bit of a concern. But that's if you have Andy Dalton, all of the other wide receivers, that's your concern. If you have Rico Dowdle, you're really excited because Rico Dowdle should be able to run against San Francisco. And if you're Christian McCaffrey, you've been running against everybody, and you should be really excited to run against the Carolina defense. Those are your big names. Eddie Pinheiro, we're just real quick. He's injured. We don't expect him to go. San Francisco has not brought in a kicker. They're trying people out. They have yet to sign anybody, and there's not one on their practice squad. So it might be Eddie Pinheiro, or they might just use the punter. So be mindful that Eddie Pinheiro is probably not going to play. Over in San Francisco, should be some nice weather there in Santa Clara for Monday Night Football and the final game of Week 12. So, yeah. But that's all we have for the matchups. We will be right back with our start traps and locks and wrap. Make sure to like and subscribe now.
Welcome back. Now to talk about sleepers, traps, and locks. From last week, we did all right. Not fantastic. Injuries killed us, especially at the sleepers. Aaron Rodgers, Drake London, both were injured last week, so didn't do too bad. Woody Marks, like we said earlier, had a fantastic game. TJ Hawkinson, kind of what you'd expect. Had Ryland, no idea. Green Bay Packers had a great game. Traps, I think we did okay here, we expected Dawson Knox to have opportunities, but not really do anything, which is sad because I used to love him. Los Angeles Rams didn't do well. Lamar Jackson is inconsistent at best. Chase Brown and Mika Egbuka, same thing. We just didn't see a lot of production out of our traps, which is what we expected. So good on us, Chris.
Woohoo! Get him once in a
Locks.
while.
Caleb Williams, like we said earlier, the Bears are having a fabulous year, and we're seeing a lot from Caleb Williams. So good on us there too. Christian McCaffrey, always a great starter. Can't go wrong with him if he stays healthy. Puka Nacua is looking. Speaking of healthy, with him going on an injury, we're really excited to see him come back. Dalton Schultz, Will Lutz had that game-winning field goal, and the San Francisco 49ers seem to be resurrecting themselves a little bit as far as defense is concerned. So did well there too.
So
That
overall,
was
week 11 was not bad.
no, not really.
Hopefully, week 12 we'll be right on the same trajectory. However, I think Caleb Williams this week is not going to do what he did last week. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be like, nope, we're going to take away all of your passing attack. I know you don't think so.
I don't.
But I think that the running game is where the Chicago Bears are going to play. I think that's really where it's going to be. So it's I think Caleb Williams is going to have his opportunities and he's going to do well, but I don't think it's going to be a
He runs.
yeah, I just don't think it'll be a breakout type game like a lock situation. I know.
Okay.
So if you have Josh Allen, use Josh Allen instead of Caleb Williams. That's all I gotta say. Hugh Judkins,
No.
I absolutely love this matchup with the Cleveland Browns against Las Vegas Raiders. As like we talked about during the matchups, it's that's all they're gonna have. If Shador Sanders starts, Judkins is the only person who's gonna be doing anything on. So I kind of say push him, start him. No matter what Ricky Pearsall, San Francisco, Purdy. We didn't talk much about him during the matchups, but he's coming back, and every single game he's come back, the last two since he was injured, getting better. You can feel that he's starting to get his legs under him again. Brock Wright. You have the Detroit Lions replacement for Sam Laporta. Hopefully he can go ahead and just build on what he did last week because that would just be great for him. He's no name and probably available in all of your leagues. And then Seattle's playing Tennessee. Daniel Carlson's a kicker that fantastic. That's indoors, so of course they're great to have on your team. Anything to say about this, Meg?
I don't.
All right, let's
Other
go.
than what I already said.
Yeah. So traps. We've kind of already touched base on everything here. We like Tracy Jr., but I don't like the matchup against the Detroit Lions. Will Disley is the tight end for the Chargers because about maybe 10, 20 minutes ago, they just put Tyler Higbee on. So Will Disley, yep, would be the next one up. So that's someone I would just say, nope, nope, let's just sidestep them since we're halfway through the week and just now. Harrison Butker, time to start worried about those cold weather fields, man, because those windy conditions will make kicking the ball real unpredictable. And we
Yeah, we
know
saw
that
that a lot last week.
yeah. And we know that we're not a big fan on the Cardinals, so no need to go more that. The locks again. We were pretty passionate about everybody. With our locks this week. From Sam Darnold playing Tennessee to Amon St. Brown playing the Giants to Jake Elliott being in a division matchup against the Cowboys, and Cleveland is facing off against Cleveland is facing off against Raiders. So the heck knows what. But that's kind of where we stand for the locks. We'll see what we got for next week when it comes down to that. Anything else to add, Megan, for the remainder of our Week 12 show?
I don't think so, other than like and subscribe if you already haven't, and nobody circles the wagons like
DTW.
CW. Thanks, guys.
Have a good week. We'll see you next week.